What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Beasley. Hope you guys are all staying productive and motivated. I'm coming at y'all today looking like Florida Evans. Woo, shit. Like, when are. I know the barbershops are gonna be open soon, but I'm not about to be like the first test subject to run out and go get an edge up, so I'm gonna let that shit wait out at least 2 or 3 weeks before I can get something done. But, woo, man, I'm tired of looking like Raggedy Ann. Anyways, I'm coming at you guys today with an episode 4 of Insecure Season 4 review. This episode was boring as shit, but I will say that this episode did give me a lot of think pieces and a lot of material to dissect. And I will say the beautiful thing about this season is that they're really like dissecting and analyzing the demise of a friendship, like a relationship between two people that are best friends and how it's on a decline. Because I feel like it's this season is just more relatable than entertaining, if that makes sense. Like everybody can really relate to the issues that Molly and Issa are facing, whether they had a best friend in the past that they fell out with. So starting off with this episode, also I didn't find outfit of the week. Everybody looked kind of very pedestrian to me. There wasn't an outfit that really stood out to me in this episode. So moving on along, starting on this episode, we see Issa. She's at home. She's working on her flyers for the big block party that's coming within a month. And then she gets a knock on her door, and it's that ratchet neighbor. What is her name? I'm just gonna call her Shanae for now. We see Shanae knocking on the door, angry and upset, and there's also a mob of other tenants behind her, and they all walk in and confront Issa because Issa fucked up and didn't let them know that there will be construction working on the pipes, so there's not going to be any water within the whole entire apartment complex, and it's like once again, like Issa, she's doing good, but she's fucking up when it comes to juggling both of her jobs. Like she's trying to get her dream off the ground, but yet she's forgetting like little shit that involves in her day-to-day job. So we go over to Molly, and then we see Andrew come over for a little romp session, and they get the business started in the bedroom. But then Molly's like, I got some work to do, I gotta finish. And then Andrew's like, okay, cool. So he just chills in the bed. So Molly gets her work done. I don't know what time Andrew got there, but she ended up finishing her work like at 1:42 in the morning. Andrew is knocked the fuck out in the bed, but she gets in the bed and men, they're always ready for sex no matter what. Like even though the nigga was asleep, like in some deep ass sleep, he hopped up and hopped on it. So we see Issa again. She's working on the flyers. I think the guy, who either like the graphic designer or the guy printing the flyers, needed the proofs for them because they're like a month away. Like we got to get this shit going. And Issa goes ahead and she contacts Condola. Condola doesn't answer. Like that shit went straight to voicemail. And then she texts her, and then we see like there's like multiple texts going out to Condola, and Condola didn't respond to any of them. I think there was one that said I'll call you when I get off work, but it's like I think that shit was like 2 days ago. So like, what the fuck is going on, Condola? I'm gonna go in on her ass later on in this review. So we see Molly again. She stays late at work. She's working with those two ladies that she kind of ditched last season to in favor to work for Torian or really just to work on cases by herself. But she seems to gotten in good with them too. We don't know if she's won over Torian yet. I don't know if they're gonna dissect that, but anyway, she's working with them too, and they kind of like are shooting the shit basically. Like they're kind of winding things down. Old girl has to go tend to her son, and the other girl tried. I think she agreed to stay late, and then Molly's like, "Oh well, I'll stay late too." She just has to be the overachiever and has to prove herself at this job, even though she's doing just fine from what I see. But it is what it is. I think Molly just really wants to fit in and right the wrongs that she made last season when she kind of turned her back against all of her coworkers. Which, again, I have to give her credit. She is trying. So Molly and Issa, they meet up, and on the way there, Nate sends Molly a message. I mean, Issa a message, and basically saying like, "Hey, I see what you're doing with the block party. Congratulations, blah blah blah." And to me, even though it would be cool to have another guy in the picture on the show for Issa, like Nate is not it. Like, move the fuck on. I mean, yeah, he was cute. He had those little blue eyes, whatever the fuck. But Like, I've been ghosted many a time in the past. And that shit hurts, especially when you feel like you're making progress with somebody. And Issa just needs to go ahead and just move on from that situation. I'm actually proud of her for not even responding to that bullshit. Like, he can stay wherever the fuck he's at. So, Molly and Issa, when Molly arrives, I probably skipped ahead, but when like Issa arrived there, like Issa was trying to back into a spot. She had the spot, and then out of nowhere, Molly just pulls up and tries to take the spot. And this scene really showed just like how like off their energy is. Like, in my opinion, that was Issa's spot. Like Molly, big headed ass, just had to go ahead and take it. Like I'm like, girl, Molly easily could have found another spot somewhere else. Like Issa had that spot. Nobody was in sight until like Molly pulled up out of nowhere when Issa was almost in it. And I'm just like, ugh. But you know, Issa, like I take her side on this one. You know, usually just the bigger person of the two. So she just took that in stride and just drove off. She's like, I don't need any more issues with Molly. We still haven't even talked to each other. So they arrive at Tiffany's house. Tiffany is kind of disheveled a little bit. Like she's talking about how I don't want to say she has postpartum, but she's just like worn the fuck out. Like they had that baby completely out of nowhere. Like it wasn't planned, and she's just like a little overwhelmed. It's basically like the growing pains of becoming a new mom, but she'll get the hang of it. And then we see David. I think his name is David. Tiffany's I think he's gay. Her gay husband. We see him talking to Jay. I mean, what's his name? Lawrence. Them two are talking, and then they're reminiscing over like he's basically saying that they were not prepared for this baby, but they just had to take things in stride. And he also reminisces over the fact that how poorly he treated women in the past, and now he has a daughter, and he kind of has to try to shield her from like the way he used to act, because these men out here will try to do anything and everything to these girls, especially growing up. And it's kind of like karma. It's like you treated women bad in the past, but now we want you to raise a daughter so you can see how other men have treated like every other woman that was a daughter back in the day. And the scene was pretty funny to me, in my opinion. I forgot what they said verbatim, but it's just funny seeing like, damn, like I gotta get my shit together now because I have a daughter, and these men out here are just fucking crazy, and he was one of them. So we see Tiffany and Issa and Kelly. They're all back downstairs. They're talking, and something happened. Like Molly was talking in regards to the fact that Andrew is always there for her. Like he's somewhat her ride or die. And then Issa was like, "Well, damn, girl, like you giving out like a relationship advice now." And then Molly looks at her, and even though Issa was joking, there was some truth in that joke. And then Molly kind of looked at her, rolled her eyes, and she was like, "No, I was just telling them about Andrew and how he's just been there for me and he's a hero." And it's just like them two. You ever have a friend that like won't let you grow or elevate? They always see you as the person they met you as, versus where like both of them are changing, but they're not allowing each other to change. They keep bringing up the same issues that they faced in the past, acting like that's the same person that they are today. Like it's like them two just don't want to. They don't see each other as like they don't see growth in each other. That's what it is. Like they're friends, but they only go off of how their friend acted in the past and not that they've learned from their mistakes. Like it's kind of just like each of them are just looking down on each other and they're not seeing each other as they've elevated from the person that they were. So Tiffany and Molly, they get up, and then Issa like secretly asks Kelly, like, what happened? Like, has Molly said anything to you? Like, blah blah blah. And Kelly's like, no. And it's like now they're going behind each other's backs, trying to see if like was she talking about me? Like, why? They're trying to figure out why each other are coming for each other. Like, they're trying to figure out like what the fuck is going on? Like, what did I do? Versus, it's really them two are just really outgrowing each other. And a lot of relationships and friendships, they aren't able to survive it. I mean, I'm really hoping that them two really pull it together, but so far it's not looking that way. So in the midst of Issa talking to Kelly, Lawrence comes downstairs and he invites Issa for a talk outside. And they go outside, and then Molly sees them from upstairs because Tiffany and Molly went upstairs to change the baby. And then Molly's like, huh, typical. She's about to ruin her life. Like, she thinks that Lawrence and Issa are like talking, as in like, oh, are they trying to get back together? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this bitch never learns. And it's just like, even though them two aren't trying to get back together right at this moment, it is coming down the pipes. Like, I already see it. Like I said last week, I don't want them two to get back together, but it's inevitable. And then in the midst of the conversation outside, I don't remember what Lawrence and Issa were talking about. It was nothing really, just one of their awkward conversations. But during that conversation, Issa receives a phone call from, I believe it was Schoolboy Q's manager or his somebody from his camp, saying that he decided to go ahead and pull out of the block party. Issa is just mad as fuck, and then Lawrence is looking like, oh shit. And before that conversation happened, Lawrence was getting ready to tell her something. And then once Issa got off the phone, Lawrence says, never mind, don't worry about it. Like, and I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck were you going to tell her? Like, it made me feel like since Condola got mad at Lawrence at the last episode, she's now taking it out on Issa and not returning her phone calls. Maybe she's jealous that Issa and Lawrence still have chemistry, or maybe she's just like, them two need to be together. I don't need this shit. And I just feel like, me personally, like, that shit is just very fucking unprofessional, fucking Condoleezza. Like, you guys have been doing great together. You're a month away from this fucking event, and you decide to just somewhat ghost Issa. Like, this shit is just very fucking unprofessional. And judging by the previews for next week, I don't even see Condola in the episode. So it's just like, girl, how fucking unprofessional. Like, y'all got that far and almost at the finish line, and you're about to just risk it all because you're in your fucking feelings. Like, I thought Condolences was way more professional than that, but it's just like, you're letting some dick get in the way of you two getting this mission like completed. You guys are really just right there, and you're about to fuck it up. And I feel bad because I really just want Issa, the character, to win for once. Like, she really is like right there. Like, this block party is like the orgasm that may not happen. Like, it's just right there, and it just needs to be finished. But blame it on fucking Condoleezza Rice for her just being a selfish ass bitch. Like, girl, bye. So, moving on along, Issa is a little distraught about the situation. She's like, what the fuck is going on? Condolences is still not returning her phone calls. And the funny thing that happened, like, she started getting a little desperate. And the first thing she did was DM Beyonce. That shit was so fucking funny to me. Like, I'm like, girl, she about to see that shit. Beyonce probably didn't even run her own damn account at this point. And then she proceeds to call a bunch of other people, and it's just like Issa and her awkward conversation with people. Like, everything is just so awkward. Like, it was a very hilarious sequence. But I'm really hoping by next episode, like, somebody comes and performs for her, because I just feel like it's absolute bullshit that one person is about to fuck up all the progress that she has made with this block party. Like, she really started from scratch, and it's about to all crumble down because of one bitch in her feelings. So Molly, we go over to Molly. She ends up meeting up with Andrew for a date finally after blowing him off for God knows, probably like 2 weeks. I don't really know the timeline of this episode, but she kept on blowing him off. And it's like they get to dinner and they have a nice date, and Molly's ready to fuck afterwards, but Andrew's like, "Oh, well, I got plans. I'm going to play poker with the guys." And Molly is so distraught and defeated. She's like, "Well, this is date night." And he's like, "Yeah, well, I just assumed that you would have to do some work afterwards." And she's probably like, "Well, why did he assume that?" And it's like, "Girl, you blew him off like almost every single chance y'all had plans. Like, what do you expect?" Like, he was probably just expecting like a date, and then after that, y'all just do your own thing afterwards. I mean, that's the routine you set in, girl. I mean, I understand it's hard to be a career woman and juggle a thriving relationship at the same time, but like, girl, you got to make do what it do. Like, prioritize the work in a way that it won't get in the way of your dating life. Like, why are you taking work home on the weekends anyway, bitch? Like, chill the fuck out. You're going to get where you need to be. Just relax. And let's see. So Issa ends up calling Molly for help because she knows that Andrew works for Live Nation. And during this conversation, when Issa called her, Molly was under the impression that they were finally going to have that talk that they were going to have on Thanksgiving Day, which again made no fucking sense to me. And to be honest, they should have been had that conversation. Like, why didn't they have the conversation the next day? Because I believe this episode is a month ahead of last week's episode, so it's just like, why have y'all not had this talk by now? Like, but I understand we got to drive a narrative, so whatever. But they have that talk, and then Molly is put off because Issa is just being selfish and like really just needs help with her situation with the block party. Which, I mean, Issa was being selfish as fuck, but at the same time, like, girl, I really need help. Like, I gotta get this shit together. Like, this is all Issa has at this point. Like, she wants to be more than just a damn superintendent at an apartment complex. But she knows that Andrew works at Live Nation, and she wanted to get help from Molly. Like, she wanted Molly to ask him if there was any artist that would be able to perform for the block party. And Molly was kind of drilling Issa, like, well, did you have a contract? And Issa lied and was like, oh, yeah, we had a contract. Girl, you didn't have no damn contract written up. And then Molly was like, well, if he had the contract, he shouldn't be able to pull out that easily, and he shouldn't be able to break it. And Issa was like, well, he broke it. And then Molly was asking more questions. And Issa was like, I just need this. Like, I don't want to hear all this bullshit. Like, I just need help. Like, I need help getting this done. And then Molly obliges and says yes. And then she just tried to see what she could do. And then they get off the phone. So Molly and Andrew meet up again at I believe Molly came to his house, and then they decided to have a talk. And didn't Nate used to live with Andrew, or wasn't he living with Andrew? Like, did he move out? Like, I'm really confused how Nate hasn't like popped up out of nowhere. Because last season, Andrew and Nate were roommates, but who knows? Whatever. But Molly simply apologizes at the fact that she kept on blowing off Andrew. Like, Andrew understands that work is important, but like, he wants to feel needed. Like, and that's what really most men want in relationships. They want to feel like they're needed. Like, I need you to be around, basically. Like, I love your presence. And it was a simple conversation, and then they just like blow it off, and they just continue to have fun. And I'm actually happy for it. I actually like Molly and Andrew together. I just hope Molly doesn't fuck it up in the future. And then later that night, Molly calls Issa back, and Issa is excited because she's like, "Yeah, you finally got some. You helped me. I got an artist for my venue." And then Molly's like, "Slow your roll, girl." I decided not to ask Andrew because she basically doesn't want to mix business and pleasure. Like, she's like, I got a good thing going with this man. I don't want to ask him for any favors right out the gate. I want to keep this shit separate, and I just want to be happy. I want to be with my man. And Issa is just like, oh well, damn, like, well, okay. Issa is very, very distraught and disappointed, and she's like, well, I gotta go. And Molly doesn't even fight to keep Issa on the phone. She's just like, I gotta go too. And it's just like, damn, like, their friendship is really about to end. And I really hate this because I like them two as the dynamic duo of this show. Like, it is going to be interesting next season seeing how them two are going to navigate not being friends but still being really good friends with both Kelly and Tiffany. Like, are them two going to have to pick sides? I mean, who knows? But it really is just sad seeing them two in the space they're in. Like, I really just hope that they just get it together. And I really just want them two to, like, sit down and finally have this talk that has been needed since last week's episode. Like, I just don't understand why they haven't decided to like talk to each other. Like, it's kind of frustrating because like a lot of things in life can be solved with a simple conversation, but some people are bullheaded and hard-headed to the fact that they don't want to submit and like admit that they're wrong, or admit that the wrongdoings they did that caused the demise of a relationship. But that's my thoughts on Insecure episode 4. I give this episode a 6.5 out of 10. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't very good. Like, it was relatable, but this season so far, it's not really just giving me that oomph yet. Like, it's not really just doing it for me. But those are my views. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so they can throw my ass in the algorithm. And I will be back to you guys with more videos and more content.